Warning, the following video contains scenes of Internet Explorer. Probably the easiest way to start this video is to explain exactly what Notpron is and why it is still prevalent today. Notpron isn't really a game as such, but an internet page based puzzle where the only aim is to get to the next URL by solving riddles hidden throughout the levels and applying them by means of web navigation with only a basic image, some haunting music and page sources to aid you. I understand that doesn't sound too exciting, and the footage of me viewing page sources probably won't rival something like the Raid 2, but give it the benefit of the doubt for now. Notpron was created by David Munich back in the mid-2000s, when the internet was storming out of its infancy with massive glowing balls of speed. I think it's kind of important to remember back 10 years to how the internet used to be. Forums were still really big, and there was more traditional methods to showcase your original IPs. There was no Kickstarter or Steam Greenlight. Ideas were just created and websites got popular through word of mouth, or if you were into Flash you could climb the ranks at newgrounds.com. I discovered Notpron back at college after a discussion about riddles and how most of them are a load of old bollocks that could be solved with more than one logical answer. So I curiously took to the internet to find the hardest, most clever riddles, upon which I found the self-acclaimed hardest riddle on the internet. Notpron is purely a web-based experience, although the later puzzles do require you to break the fourth wall. The main reason I'm using Internet Explorer here is that it's the only web browser, or at least the only web browser I have, that allows background music to be played, and this is somewhat essential if you wish to progress through the game. The beginning few levels of Notpron act as somewhat of a short tutorial of what you should be looking out for in the levels. The first level is very simple, with nothing more than a mouse click to navigate to the next URL to complete. Level 2 furthers your brief lesson by pointing to exactly what it is you need to change, although this was created in a time when the average resolution was half of what it is today, so unless the browser is windowed, you could be forgiven for not seeing it straight away. Currently you are on level 2.htm and must get to level 3, and whilst at first it might seem like cheating to simply change the URL number, it is in fact the correct way to progress. Next up is level 3, which builds on the idea of URL manipulation by having the name of the page as the key hint to what must be changed. In this instance we have the hint being the words go to the other side and part of the URL being the word false. As you progress through these web pages, this is the sort of hint that will become second nature to you, as you will condition yourself to explore opposites of words and expand on numbers. And in this case, changing the word false to true does indeed take us to level 4. It's actually quite tricky to talk about what makes these pages so enthralling to experience without simply explaining how each puzzle is solved, but I think for the first few it helps to paint a picture of exactly what you're in for. Screen 5 isn't such a simple spot the hint and proceed affair, and requires you to provide a username and password in order to gain access to the next URL. This is quite a clever little approach, as it puts a physical barrier between jumping from page to page and makes you think that you're actually solving an encrypted message rather than just blindly accessing different web pages. Studying the picture, it won't take you awfully long to notice that there is Morse code written on a chest of drawers, and within seconds you'll have Googled and found yourself a Morse code dictionary to decipher the hidden message. This for me is what makes the game an immersive and intriguing experience. It never holds your hand in telling you exactly what you need to do or where to find it. You're left to your own devices and predominantly the internet to try and work out these cryptic clues. Solving Morse code is easy enough, but as you progress you will be treated to much more convoluted puzzles which require you to delve further into the individual elements that create each web page and manipulate them in many different ways. Your main friend here becomes the page source, as this includes developers' notes that act as hints, clues or even answers to what you are seeing on the main page. I found it much easier going through it this time around with two browsers open, one allowing the functionality of background sounds and the other for just functionality in general, and also to display the page source as I tried to figure out the correct answer. Let's take stage 6 for example. Right at the bottom of the source code we have the hint, ASCII is an alternative, and on the main picture we have the word ALT in big letters letting us know that the ALT key is going to make a play here. I already knew what to do here because I had done it before, and that is to hold down the Alt key and type in certain numbers which would allow characters to appear, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out where the numbers were hidden on the page. Eventually though, after much searching, I did find them hidden in the background, needing to be highlighted in order to be seen. It certainly is not something that you can breeze through in a single morning. I actually spent 6 months playing this and got to level 79 whilst I should have really been doing college coursework. There are of course guides and walkthroughs available if you are stuck, but these really spoil how to progress through each level, and solving these riddles is the accomplishment. Having said that, I did cheat once however on my first playthrough on question 43, which has something to do with reading music which was completely alien to me and I had no idea what I was looking at. So I can't scrutinise anyone else for seeking help from the internet. Later levels of the game will have you trying new and more imaginative methods of puzzle solving. Source code will often hint towards hidden images by suffixing their title with a letter. This gives you a little nod that this might be one of many images that could be discovered by changing the URL. Many of the images, and especially later in the game, will require you to not just look at them, but to download and explore them properly. The majority will require you to use Photoshop in order to manipulate the images properly. Some simply require you to look at the metadata in order to gain clues about the image. Others require you to manipulate the colours and levels in order to see hidden messages. And some have you downloading multiple images to a number of layers in order to display the riddle solution. What I think I like most about this is that no level is self-contained, it is literally up for you to find your own means and use your own software to explore these hidden clues. That isn't to say that this is a flawless riddle. One in particular that requires you to find a hidden MP3, download it, speed it up and play it backwards wasn't as easy as it once was with the Windows XP sound editor, something that was hinted to in the source code but obviously on today's machines is a bit redundant, but I think that adds even more of a charm to it as it now has a sort of retro style to it, which means you have to find your own way to solve the riddles. It would be easy, and I think for most people it will be, to just get bored and give up with this, but there is an eeriness to it I find really resonates with me. It might be the background music, which once you get to a certain part in the game you discover is actually the start of an Elvis concert, slowed down 500%. Or it could be the comical hints that you sometimes encounter when you're getting close to solving a clue, sometimes resulting in boobs. Or perhaps it's the small David Lynch style images that are even more personified in Grimace by the background music. I think it's definitely a collaboration of all these factors, along with the non-mothering way it asks you to find the answers to the riddles. It really is something that needs to be played alone at night without any distractions, or maybe with a like-minded friend and a few drinks. A few bits of advice I will give you: always keep a note of your URLs, usernames and passwords as they will come into play later, and try your best not to cheat. It can be hard to do when the site has existed for so long and the criteria you are searching for on the internet can often result in a walkthrough or guide, but just try to ignore them and figure them out yourself. It's certainly not for everyone, and if you're not a fan of puzzles that's definitely a deal breaker, but I am one of these sadly individuals who genuinely likes doing crossword puzzles, and some of the levels are ridiculously hard to solve without a hint or two, but don't let that put you off giving it a go. It's a challenge, an old challenge, but it's still rewarding, and having done most of these levels before, I still couldn't remember any of the URLs or passwords, and only a certain degree how to obtain them. So give it a go, and let me know how you got on. Try to make it to at least level 20, which is stupidly hard for that far into the game, and see if it grabbed you like it did me. Also, as an end note, if you do want any hints without directly cheating, leave a comment response below and I'll do my best to push you in the right direction without giving away too much. Thanks for watching, and sorry it took so long to get this video out there. I've been busy capturing footage for a lot of other games I want to do a review of, so hopefully the new ones shouldn't be too far away.